All right, looks like we are live. Hello, everybody. This is episode 31 of Hump Day Hangouts with Semantic Mastery. Today is the 3rd of June. It is a great Wednesday for some SEO talk. It looks like we got everybody here today. We got Bradley, Chris, Hernan, Marco, and myself, Adam. So without any further ado, I think we're going to get started and dive into it today.
What's up, guys?
Hey, everybody.
Hello.
Hi.
Hernan, what's going on over there, man?
Hey guys, I'm just thrilled to be here.
He's just feeling good, I guess, you know?
Yeah,
So.
I am.
All right, well, what's up, everybody? As Adam said, it's episode 31. 31 weeks in a row, guys. Haven't missed one single week. So we've been at it hard. Don't really have any announcements for today either, which is good. Today's going to be pretty much just Q&A. Although I do want to mention that last night we had the Holly Cooper webinar, and she dropped, it's amazing what that girl can do with videos. In case anybody missed that, we've got the replay. I don't know, Adam, if you want to drop
I'm going to pop that in there.
Okay.
I'm still feeling tiny.
Yeah, I know, dude. She she came in and just emasculated all of us because
Yeah. I'll need to get your shrink because I'm still feeling
what she does is just insane, and it was like, wow. I mean, it's insane. So hopefully you guys had a chance to watch that. If not, you'll catch the replay. We've got it up on our page on our website, so you can check it out. But very, very powerful. And in fact, we're going to talk a little bit about some of the stuff that she was talking about last night in Masterclass today, immediately following Hump Day Hangout. So those of you that are Masterclass members, we're going to talk about some of that today, and you know, some of the stuff that we can use that she was talking about last night to our advantage. Okay. So other than that, let's get right into questions. I'm going to go ahead and take the screen so you don't got to look at me.
Sounds good. And I think Estelle is going to be the first person. I know she had a question from early in the week, and yeah, she posted like 2 or 3 days ago.
Okay, let me, I've still got things that I need to hide on my desktop, so don't make me switch windows because it might reveal some stuff that I shouldn't have up still.
Gotcha. Well, we are seeing your full desktop, so hopefully that's what we're supposed to be
That's the
seeing.
only way I can do it, or else I got to switch windows every time I change something, you know. Okay, so Estelle, what's up, Estelle? She says, I have a client with 200 evergreen posts that are already published. That's right, I saw this question earlier when she had posted it. She says she's having trouble with it pushing back out across the feed, even though she changed it, the publishing date, like we have talked about before. Look, Estelle, I think, I don't know what happened. We used to be able to do that with the plugin, with our own plugin, where we could just change the publishing date to where it would schedule ahead of time, and then let it once that time lapsed, it would reinsert itself into the feed and syndicate. And I don't know what changed, if it was something in the WordPress code or what, but our premium plugin is coming out, and I don't know when. I thought we were going to have it out possibly this month in June, but it will take care of that. Okay, but until then, does anybody on here know of any other option to resyndicate a post that's already on your feed, that's already been published? Chris, you'd be the one to answer that, wouldn't you? Hello?
Maybe. No, just kidding. I got nothing. I think Chris may have stepped away, but personally, I do not know.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, there's a couple other plugins that may possibly do that, but I haven't tested them, Estelle, so I'm not 100% sure. I know that we used to be able to do that because just a couple months ago I had a blog that I pushed about, I don't know, 14 or 15 posts out that had already been published, and I did it all in just a day, you know, in the morning, by doing that exact same thing. But I know WordPress has updated several times since then, and it seems like every time WordPress updates, something else breaks. So that very well could be it. I know our premium plugin will solve that 100%. You can actually select how many posts you want to, republish, and it's not just changing the date. It actually like reinserts it back into the database as a fresh post too. So it will work for the RSS feeds, and that's the only way we could get it to work. And then there's going to be like where you can set, like every 30 days it will reinsert itself back into the feed, that sort of thing. We can set the time limit where it will republish itself. So you might, I mean, other than having to wait, honestly, I would search maybe for some other plugins that might be able to do that if you need it right away. I don't know what else to do. The only other thing I could suggest doing would be possibly to just delete the old posts, or even you could even do a 301 redirect from the old posts and create new posts with a slightly different title, or even just a different slug. In other words, your permalink. if you change your permalink and repost a new post with a new permalink, like go to post, add new, and then put the same title and the same content, but change your permalink, and then you hit submit, that's going to create a new post, which will insert it into the feed and push it out as a brand new post. And then you could just 301 redirect the old URL to the new one, even if it's the same post. It's just a little bit more manual work that way. But that's I mean, as far as I know, that's the only way you can do it. And I know there's a couple other plugins out there that will do something similar, but I haven't tested them, and I don't know the names of them off the top of my head. So, okay. Jeff, he says this is the normal. Yeah, Jeff, I saw your question earlier, and honestly, I don't think that that's possible. At least I don't know, because Pocket, their RSS feed only it's only a link, as far as I know. So I don't know any. I honestly couldn't tell you. Sorry about that. Mervin says, I have a beginner question. Let's see. I have been renting a Google ranking video to. Oh yeah, we answered this. Both Clifton and I answered this earlier. But let's just go ahead and answer it again for the benefit of everyone else. I now need to change. Yeah, okay, so I have I've been renting a Google ranking video to a local client for some time. I now need to change the rental to another client. I have the previous client's phone number in the video title and custom thumbnail. Can I change my custom thumbnail and also the phone number in the title without having to re-upload the video? Will the ranking be impacted by the title change? Yes, Mervin, you can change the phone number and the custom thumbnail. You might see a little bit of dancing if you change the phone number in the title after you do that, but personally, I don't recommend putting phone numbers in titles anyways. I mean, I don't, because I don't have any definitive proof that that can cause your channel to be shut down, but I've had it happen to you know, some friends of mine that have that do a ton of video marketing stuff, and the only thing that we could pinpoint that was in common between the two people that I've seen it happen was that they had phone numbers in their video titles. And I have taken I've gone through hundreds of videos and changed them to where I took the phone number out of the titles and put them as the first line in the video description and also on the custom thumbnail, so that the phone number still displays in the search results, but it's not in the title tag, and that's just as a precautionary measure, and I haven't had a single channel shut down yet.
Yeah, but just as a general note, I like this. I think we should add this somewhere, that putting the phone number on like a slide for the custom thumbnail is a really good idea. I really like that.
Yeah, and I mean that's what that's what I do, and then I put it as the first part of the video description too, so it shows up in the search results anyways, in the meta description area. So
also, sorry Bradley, but moving forward, you may want to get a Twilio number and redirect that, and add that to all of the videos that you are trying to rank instead of putting the actual client number, because that will need you to go inside and tweak the video once it's ranked, and that's something we don't want to do, because as you said, that could be there could be some dancing. Yeah. But in any case, and then if you wanna add a Twilio number, and then you can redirect to whatever client you want.
That's right, without having to edit the video. I mean, again, don't be scared to edit the video. It might dance a little bit, but in fact, if you're going to be editing the video anyways, Mervin, I would suggest or recommend that you take the phone number out of the title tag anyways, and just do like what we said. But I totally agree with Hernan. You should be using your own tracking numbers if you're renting videos anyways, instead of directing.
Also as an information method to see if the client is getting leads, actually, as a means of you getting the information.
That's right. Yeah, because you can take the phone number, a virtual phone number is going to show you call analytics, and in that way, like, I've had clients in the past where I've had their phone number on the video, or the property that I'm renting. It not necessarily have to be a video, but whatever. And they say, well, I don't think we're getting a lot of calls from whatever you. And then if I don't have proof to show them, there's no way for me to show them that I can, how many calls are generated from my property. Then how do they know that the value's there? You know what I mean? So it's better if you have analytics that you can show and say, look, I generated, 16 calls for your business this month. So, then it's hard for them to argue with you. Okay. Okay, Clifton, he says, okay, here are my questions for this week. He's got them all in one. That's smart. Hot off the press, 218. What happened to Zach? Wasn't it Zach that had been he'd been the first one for like 4 weeks in a row?
I think so.
Yeah, wasn't I think so. Well, he must have taken the week off.
Yeah.
Clifton says, hot off the press, 2:18 p.m. Eastern. This was yesterday. If you don't get to the rest, it is okay. We can save it for next week. Anyway, I just got off the phone with a high-profile cosmetic dentist. He wants me to rank a video for him on his YouTube channel. A quick look shows that most of the videos that rank page 1 have a few backlinks, and most are press releases. A few of the videos that rank on page 1 have a few backlinks, and most are press releases. I'm curious if those are press release backlinks to the video, or if you're talking about there's videos and press releases on page 1. My question is, how much should I charge him, and how do I present the scope of work, i.e. process details and time frame? My plans are to get enough of a down payment to set up the first and second tier IFTTT networks, buy Syndwire, and start that and do a press release. For ranking a video, you know, I don't know. I've never done any work for dentists, so I don't know what the going rate is for that kind of thing. If you're looking to buy Syndwire and set up a couple two-tiered networks or whatever for all that off the front end, you're going to have to charge them $1,000 at least, right? For upfront. So, and if you say it's a high-profile cosmetic dentist, they've got deep pockets, so that could be very reasonable. Actually, I honestly don't know because I've never done any work for dentists. Is anybody here? Hernan, you've done some work in that field, haven't you?
Come again?
I thought you've done. Have you done some work with like cosmetic dentists or in the medical industry?
Yeah, and as you said, you have they usually have big pockets, but you need to show them some proof. You know, that's my experience at least. You know, so if you can rank a video first and then offer the service, and you know, it's just a keyword that you choose that it's easy, and then you can rank that. You know.
Yeah. Go ahead, Marco.
It all depends on the procedure that the dentist specializes in. Cosmetic dentistry could be a whole bunch of stuff. It could be veneers. It could be dental implants. It could be all-on-4 dental. If this is an all-on-4 guy, then he's talking about a $50,000 to $100,000 check per procedure.
Wow.
So you know you charge accordingly.
Yeah. It depends on the area as well where the dentist is located. I believe that there are areas that are more like expensive than others, you know, like big metro areas, and what's the scope of the campaign.
That's so, right. The competition levels too.
Yeah, the competition levels. Because if it's a small local town, then you can, you know, go away with a lot less, and you can also charge a lot less. But if you want to go for, I don't know, veneers in Chicago, which is huge, you know, then you need to charge accordingly.
You know, well, one of the other key items in his question here was that the dentist wants him to rank a video on the dentist's channel. You know what I mean? So that instantly means I'm charging more. If I got to rank something on somebody else's channel instead of my own, I'm charging more. You know, a lot more. You know?
And here's the deal: the way that he determines what he can charge, it's just by simply calling dentists in the area and finding out what they charge for whatever the dentist that he's targeting specializes in. If you can find out the average cost in the area, then he's going to know what the dentist is going to get per person that he delivers. And then what I do is I take a percentage. I take from 10 to 20. And whatever that client is worth, that's what I'm going to charge.
That's not a bad idea. So I mean, you could end up getting, I don't know, like $2,500, $5,000, depending on how much it is up front. I mean, again, if you got a high-profile cosmetic dentist and you can, you know, get him results, then you should be able to charge a very good, you know, upfront fee to get set up. And again, since he's asking for you to do it on his channel, like that instantly puts me like at a much higher price point, because that means I'm going to be building his authority instead of my own.
Yeah, you might think about charging a multiple, since as soon as it's ranking, he could tell you to take a hike, and he's still going to be ranking.
That's right. So the other alternative route would be, so like what I do when somebody wants me to charge or to quote them to rank something on their properties, like for videos especially, is I quote them at such a high price that they don't want that anymore. Like I do, because and if they still insist, then that's fine. But they're going to pay. But I honestly don't like ranking stuff on other people's channels, because it takes me out of the position of control. You know what I mean? And so like I always quote a really high price for that, and then I give them the alternative option, which is for me to rank it on my properties, on my channel, through my networks, and then it's a lower price because you know, it's my authority that I'm building on. Each time I syndicate another video, I'm actually boosting authority for my channel, right? So again, that's something that you have to work out with him. But if he's got deep pockets and it's a competitive area, and like Marco said, that's great advice for you to call around and just get a feel for what the current the average or normal pricing is for the kind of procedures that he provides. Then you would just gauge your initial contract price out off of that, a percentage of that. Okay. Your input on the duplicate content debate. I will be creating a brand, Big Mama's Moo-Moos, creating unique content and then duplicating the sites locally like major service companies do, ending up with Big Mama's Moo-Moos of Miami, Big Mama's Moo-Moos of Detroit. I'd love to see you build that so I could see what that site looks like. I know it's just an example, but that would be funny. The content will have local modifiers and local schema markup, or markup, you meant, I'm sure. Will I be penalized? Not right now. Not necessarily. Right now, for whatever reason, you can still get away with that. I don't know how long it'll last. It may not be a long-term strategy that you want to, you know, but you take advantage of it. Milk it while you can, because you still can do that. Like, for example, the SERP Shaker sites and lead gadget sites and things like that, that's what they are. They're just like, the only thing that changes really is the location data, the geographic modifiers. And you can build, like with lead gadget, you can build nationwide sites with 42,000 posts in a matter of about 20 minutes. And it's all pretty much the same content other than some slight spinning and stuff like that. And the only thing that the major changes is the location information. And it still ranks well. Those sites still end up ranking very well, but at some point they could end up, you know, tanking because of duplicate content. And if that's the case, you have to build another one. So what I typically do with those kind of sites is I use them for research purposes to figure out where I've got my, you know, I'm going to have the best success ranking with little work. And then I go build out more permanent solutions for those terms once I've identified them. And then, don't get me wrong, I still monetize those sites while they're up. But I just don't plan on making that a long-term strategy. I plan on building something more permanent in its place, if that makes sense. Okay. So no, will I be penalized? Not right. No, not necessarily. Not at all. I wouldn't expect you to be penalized at all. At least not up front. There's some of those sites that last for years and never get penalized. So, you know, and I would say just do it, and then but just have a backup plan. You know what I mean? Keep track of where you're doing well, so that you can start to build out other properties. And it doesn't have to be necessarily just other websites. You could do video SEO in those areas that you rank well with little to no off-page work, right? You could rank Web 2s. You could rank maps listings. You could do a number of things. Okay. All right, we're going to keep moving. Can I use the same outer tier network for all of the sites? Different first tier and unique feeds to the outer tier. Yes, you can do that. And that would actually be very, very strong for the outer tier because you would be keeping consistently themed content across the network. So that would be very strong for that. Number 3, is there a way to change an old YouTube channel already connected to a profile into one connected to a page? Yeah, I think there is actually, Clifton. Matter of fact, let's see. We'll walk through this real quick. Let's see if we can find this, because I actually just saw this the other day when I was looking in here. Let's see if we can find it. Okay, yeah, you see that? We'll walk through this again. Go to your YouTube icon up here. Click on the YouTube settings icon, the gear. Go to Advanced. Click on that, and then you'll see right here, move channel to a different Google Plus profile or page. Boom.
Oh,
question
cool.
answered.
I didn't know that.
Yep, question answered. That's actually a newer feature. That's why, Hernan, you probably didn't know that.
Right.
Like, I just discovered this a couple days ago, and I was like, wow, that's new.
That's pretty cool, actually.
Yep, you can now move channels, guys, between profiles and pages and stuff. Is that cool? Because you used to not be able to do that, right? Now you can do that. So there you go, Clifton. Nailed that one. Number 4, I'm adding my blog and YouTube channel to tiered networks. I already have an aged account connected to my Gmail. Do I use the same WordPress blog or Tumblr account, just different blogs, or do I create an entirely new network for my blog using the hosted email? Okay, look, if you guys are connecting blogs to networks, I recommend using a webmail account instead of a Gmail account to create all the accounts. Only because occasionally your Web 2 accounts will get shut down, or worse yet, occasionally a Google account will get shut down. And when it does, if you have all your Gmail, if you registered everything through a Gmail account, then you have to go change the registration email or the account email for all of the other accounts. So like when I do a blog network, an IFTTT network for blog syndication, then I use a webmail account. If I'm just doing it for video syndication, then I just use Gmail. But if I'm doing it for blog syndication, then I use a webmail account because it makes it a hell of a lot easier. Occasionally a Google account gets shut down, guys. There's just no way around it. And so when it does, it just makes it a hell of a lot faster and more efficient to just have to swap out the Google account than it does to change the emails on everything. As far as adding additional blogs to the same accounts, I don't mind doing that for like maybe adding one additional blogger under the same account and one additional Tumblr. In other words, you can log in with, and then you can have more than one blog under a single account. But I wouldn't put more than just one or two eggs in any basket, because if it gets terminated, you lose everything, right? So just keep that in mind. You don't want to mix and match too. You don't want to have too many eggs in one basket. You want to kind of spread those out. So that's why we recommend in the training. That's why we don't talk about this in the IFTTT training, because there would be we don't want to be liable for somebody having 15 freaking blogs in their blogger account, and that Google account gets shut down, and then they come back whining and crying to us and saying, well, we didn't tell you. So we just tell you to build a new persona account for it. It's a 1-to-1 ratio, and that way you limit your exposure or your risk. Right. All right, we're gonna keep moving. That was big, Clifton, but good job. That's the way to do it, guys. Okay. Tom says, talk about a blueprint that I can use so I can go from 0 to 50K a month in revenue. What would you do, Brad?
That is a wonderful problem.
And I want it done in the next 30 days.
Right.
Well, I would have a system. I would develop a plan and then work a specific system and cut out all other distractions and literally work my ass off to make it happen. It depends on that is such a broad question, Tom. They would have to. I don't know if you're in the mastermind or not, but if you are, that would be a great topic for us to get into a little bit deeper, possibly tomorrow during our next mastermind webinar. Go ahead.
That's exactly sorry, Brady, but that's exactly the goal of the masterclass. I mean, to have you having a successful revenue-generating business. I mean, it's not that far off to make 50K a month.
That's right.
It's dedication and focus, as you're saying, Brady.
Right. Yeah, and that's what I was going to say was that depends on what type of marketing do you want to do. To me, the question of going with just a broad question is, I want to build a business to 50K a month. There's not enough information there, and what I mean by that is do you really is it just the money that you're going after, or because there's got to be something that interests you more than another. In other words, do you want to do local SEO work? Do you want to do client work? Do you want to do lead gen? Do you want to do affiliate marketing? Do you want to do coaching or consulting? There's so many things, there's so many different avenues you could take to get to that 50K. What is it that interests you? That would be number one, is to pick something that you're truly interested in and that you have truly have a passion for, because that's going to make that journey to that point so much easier, right? So it shouldn't necessarily just be about how much money you're going to make. It should be something that you enjoy doing, because otherwise it's still going to feel like work. And if you do it because you enjoy it, it's not going to feel so much like work. It'll be more enjoyable along the way, and I think that's very important. So that would be one thing. But then, like Hernan said, our masterclass is specifically for how to create a revenue-generating business using IFTTT SEO as the foundation, right? It's not the be-all, end-all, guys, but it's the foundation. And we're doing the local SEO case study right now that's going to last about another 5 weeks or so, and then we're going to do the affiliate case study. So that'll give you two options there. And the local SEO case study covers both client consulting and lead gen. So you're going to get a lot of those different bases covered there. And if you follow along and stay focused, you could, it's just a matter of scaling from that point forward. You set up one revenue generating property, whether it's a YouTube channel or video, a website or local maps or whatever, and then you just scale it from there. Once you've got one down that's successful, You repeat and you repeat and you repeat, and you start putting systems into place to where you can knock it out. You hire outsourcers, that sort of thing, right? So it's all about finding something that works, systemizing it, and then scaling it. Okay, but there's a lot to Tom. I'd love to talk about that in one of our other groups where we've got we can get into more in depth on that kind of stuff. So if you are in the mastermind, post that question for tomorrow. There's a webinar questions category in the group, and we could talk about that a little bit more tomorrow. Clifton. Okay, I was going to say, didn't we just answer everything for him? He was answering another question.
Yeah, he's good to go.
Bob says, questions for Hump Day. I successfully built a persona-based network and tested it on a client site before I realized that I should have used a branded network. I have since built a branded network and am ready to deploy it. I also want to build tier 2 networks to support the branded one. The questions are, did I do any harm by having a persona based network supporting a client site? No, not at all. Especially if it was only for a brief period of time, Bob. Don't worry about it. Don't sweat it at all, man. What do you recommend I do with the persona-based network? Convert it to a tier 2 network to support the branded one? Yes, I do. Or use it for a tier 1 network for YouTube. Either one. But if you're going to end up building tier 2 networks anyways, you might as well repurpose it for that. If I convert it, should I clear out all the posts in the web tubes before redeploying it? That's up to you. It depends on how many you have. I mean, if you're overly concerned with it pointing back to your money site as a persona network, then just go ahead and delete them. But personally, I would leave them, especially if it's not a whole lot of posts. I would just go ahead and leave them because they're going to be buried with new posts under new posts anyways when you start posting from your tier 1 to tier 2, right? So I would personally, I would just leave them. I wouldn't go through all that trouble. So, but don't worry about that, Bob. As long as it you weren't doing that for months at a time, you'll be fine. Brian says, I had a few questions before buying Holly's course. How do we contact her? I don't know, honestly, Brian. Sure you could find her somewhere on Google Plus or LinkedIn or something, Facebook, somewhere.
I don't think, Brian, I don't think the course includes
consulting.
Yeah, consulting. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think so.
I
doubt very seriously because she said last night on the webinar that she does, she'll do a Q&A webinar, but she doesn't provide support really. So
yeah, if any, you can leave a question and we can try to pass around, but yeah. I'm not entirely sure that
I'm all for Brian doing his own legwork. If you do have a pre-sale question, I'm sure if you try to contact her, that if it's something to do with that she will answer it or point you in the right direction.
Yeah, I'm sure if it's a pre-sale question, you could probably get a hold of her. Just go to that sales page, click the button on the replay page that takes you to the sales page. There's got to be some way to get a hold of her over there, I'm sure. So, if not, like I said, we could possibly, I don't know if she provides support or not, but I think she mentioned it last night, Brian, that she doesn't. She does a Q&A webinar for members or buyers of her course, and that's about it. So,
yep.
She's hard like that, but she's too busy kicking ass and making money, So
hey Bradley.
Yeah.
There's a private Facebook group if you buy the course.
Right. Okay. Cool.
So then you can ask to join the group, and they'll let you in the group, and then that I guess that's how she does her support and Q&A and whatever. Just the same way we do it.
Right.
Except for Hump Day Hangouts, this is just something that we do because this is something we enjoy. We enjoy answering people's questions.
Yeah, and we also got a support desk that we get 1,000 tickets a day on, though. so that is a little bit different. But yeah, we do our Q&A for most people right here on the Hump Day Hangout, so that's a good point. Okay,
Jorg next one
says, could you set up a YouTube silo playlist and put in some high authority videos, suggestion courtesy of Chris Greenhow, he's a mastermind member as well. Would that be too obvious since some of my videos have the proper linking structure in the description and the others don't? No, Jorg, that's fine. I think we talked about this. I think Jorg's in the mastermind, isn't he?
Yes, he is.
Yeah. For the benefit of everybody else, yeah, you can use other people's videos in your playlist, guys. In fact, if you have trouble creating filling out a playlist with your own content because you don't have enough videos or whatever, then you can use other people's videos in your playlist, guys, and still use the YouTube silo setup the way that we teach. Because although you can't put links in the description of the video, you can, for most videos, put a comment underneath the video. and link to other, to the top of your playlist. For example, and I mentioned this in the mastermind, but if you're commenting on a video, let's just say it's about keyword research, right? And you've got a playlist that you're using, that you're trying to build because you want to rank for several keyword research terms, for example. And you go out and you locate other videos that show how to use the Google Keyword Planner and maybe Longtail Pro and some of those other tools or whatever, or how to do keyword research for e-commerce or whatever. And you add all of those, you start adding those highly relevant, useful videos into your playlist. If you go down into the comment section, you could drop a comment in and say, hey, great video, I really like what you said, about blah, blah, blah. And I've curated several keyword research videos in a playlist which you guys can see here. You might find it useful, and drop the link, right? Because now you're adding value and you're actually putting it in with a lot of other keyword research videos, and chances are that won't get screened out. It's just like leaving a blog comment on a blog. If you add value, it will probably get posted and not moderated out, right? And a comment underneath a video is still an internal link from Google Plus and YouTube. So you can still link back up to your YouTube playlist that way. So it's not quite the same, but it's a close second. Let's put it that way. All right. So absolutely, you should. By the way, guys, when you do that, especially if you're grabbing other people's videos that have a lot of views and that rank really, really well on YouTube, that will rub off on your videos, and also like by doing that, and you will associate your videos with those high authority videos, and you'll see that your video will start to show up in the right-hand side where the recommended videos are or related videos when you're on those high authority YouTube watch pages. You'll see that your video will start to pop up. That and matching the tags too. So if you want to, there's a lot of software, like now you can't, it used to be where YouTube showed the tags, but now it doesn't, but there's some softwares that'll do it, or you can view source code and you can see like the first like 3 or 4 tags. But there's a lot of softwares out there that will scrape the tags for you as well. And if you match the tags and then you also put your video into a playlist with those videos, your video will start to show up in the right-hand side where the related videos are, so that when people are watching those really, really high authority videos that get a lot of traffic, they'll see your video on the right-hand side. Okay? You can siphon traffic that way. Jason's turning 29 on Saturday. Happy birthday, Jason. Douglas Hoover says, today's question from Holly's webinar yesterday, what is she doing differently than what is in the IFTTT training? Pure spam, Douglas. That's what Holly does, is pure spam, and she's a master at it. Kind of blows me away that still works. When she does it at the level that she does it at, it still works.
Yeah. If I can add in that, she does it in a particular way. I mean, she uses embeds as well, and a lot of tools, but she does it in a particular way that gives results. So
yeah, it's interesting because that blows me away, because you have to. It's like if you do spam like just a little bit, or you do spam a lot, it usually doesn't work. But when you do spam to the point where she is, it's like it has no choice but to work.
Yep.
It's like it's not, and I'm really actually surprised that that's all that she does. I mean, she does embeds, which she said that was very important. But what's interesting is she does the embeds, but then spams the video direct. She doesn't spam the embedded properties, right?
Yeah. Well, kind of. I've been going through the course, and she does both. Because the embeds, and this is something that we preach also on the IFTTT course, that the embeds property need to have some authority, to pass the link.
Oh yeah.
She must have been pumping the page authority on those.
Yeah, she does that. Yeah.
Yeah. So basically, Douglas there, I think that what she does, she uses, tools heavily, but what she does, it has many contact points with what we do or what we train at IFTTT, because the embed, she does it with FCS Networker, and we do it with IFTTT, which is an automated way of doing the same, of embedding and getting your video out there. So, and probably I'm going ahead of that, but Jason also says that she's blasting the living of her videos with links, and she does, but she does it in a particular way, and you don't need to produce 15,000 or 10K embeds to start with, Jason. you can start much lower. She's at that level because she's now working with high competitive terms, you know, and getting, you know, killing the SERPs in so many areas that she needs to do that. But you can start much lower. In fact, I have started much lower, and I have had good results with what we teach.
Yeah, I mean, we are joking it, but at the same time, we were 100% sincere when we say that, you know, we feel small after talking to her as far as like our linking strategies to the videos, but we're able to achieve success too with what we teach. You know, which again, there's a lot of overlap there. What's interesting though is like what Hernan said is that she just has these the resources to have so many. I mean, I think she literally has like 100 VPSs running GSA full tilt 24/7, guys.
Yeah, 40 dedicated.
Yeah, plus what is it, Money Robot and FCS Networker, and you know all of these tools that she's got running. She says I use them all. I use all the spam tools, X-Rumor. You know, she's Scrapebox, like all this kind of stuff, guys, and that's because she's built her business to that level. Right. But she didn't start out that way. Right. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you make a great point, because now looking at in perspective, you know, when you're just starting, you hear holy, and you say, well, how the heck am I supposed to do 10,000 embeds? You know, and it's not the case. It's something that you will. It's like the 50K answer that we answered, the 50K question that we answered a bit earlier today. You know, it's something that you. It's a process that you end up getting 15 people working with you doing embeds. So that's something that makes sense.
Yeah, sure. Like the way you make 50K, well, you make 10K first.
Right.
Right.
And you scale it from there. That's correct. It's one. You know, how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. You know. Yeah. So. Yeah. But by the way, Hernan, you can say that word because it's spelled with PH instead of F, so it's perfectly okay.
Can I say fuck?
No, you don't say that. Say it with a PH. Jeez.
It's phonetically okay, so.
Okay.
All right, so we're gonna keep moving, guys. But totally, Douglas. Yeah, you know, there is a lot of overlap there, but I love the fact that I mean, she's just like industrial strength spam, and it works. And so I'm actually going to be setting up some tests using a lot more spam to see if I can replicate those results, because a lot of the stuff that we teach is with and what I've found to be incredibly useful, and I feel has a longer term approach. What she's doing is absolutely working. There's no question, guys. So I'm not saying that at all, but social engagement is a big part of the algorithm now. It's called engagement rank, and that's a big part of the and to especially with websites, because and YouTube views, because I know like searching, doing the search and click and watch, that really works, because I've been using crowd search. I know she mentioned last night that crowd search didn't really work for her with her spam method, but for what I'm doing in my method, and like crowd search works great for videos. And we also, you know, with the 2014 search ranking factors that Searchmetrics put out, showing click-through rate is now like the highest metric, or the highest ranking factor, the most important, the most heavily weighted ranking factor. Like, it just goes to show you that that's how the web is shifting, is towards engagement rank and user signals, right? And so, you know, links are still very much a part of the algorithm, and they will be for some time, but they are becoming a smaller slice of the overall pie almost on a daily basis, right?
Hey, Bradley.
So, go ahead.
You know, if you think about it, she is getting user engagement. She's forcing her videos up. She gets views. She mimics the video going viral. So she actually just tricks the search engine into thinking that there's social engagement and there is actual user engagement. So she's hitting both.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, other than the view count being really low, you're right. There's a lot of the social signals there, but there's not necessarily the high view count on a lot of the videos that I noticed. But that's fine. Like I said, it's still working, and by all means, take advantage of it. You know, take advantage of it. So I was quite inspired by her last night to rethink the spam usage a bit when it comes to YouTube.
Yep. And guys, just for the record, just to have an idea of the fixed costs that she's handling, you know, with 100 BPSs and all of those proxies and all of those captchas and all of those tools, that will give you a good idea of what the earnings are or what the income is, you know?
Yeah.
To have that at industrial level. So it's not something to be worried about, it's something to look after or to look up to, you know, to go after, I should say.
That's right.
All right, let's get cruising.
Yep.
Yeah, we've only got about 15 minutes left, so we'll keep moving. Let's see. Shannon, is he next? Shannon Adams, or she? Is it he or she? Because that could be both.
Can't tell from the picture, but we'll say Shannon. Shannon's next.
Okay. I'm not sure if this has been discussed, but I want to know if you have gone over or can go over the recent Google quality update from May 4th. I have a site that is really high quality everything, not a lot of content, but written professionally, high quality images and videos that was hit -10 to -20. Cool if you can touch on that. Thanks. Well, I think, is he talking about, he must be talking about the Phantom 2 update. Because that's the only one I know of other than like the doorway pages update and stuff. So, unfortunately, we're not going to have time to dig into that. That would be something that I would like to prepare for and maybe chat about next week, Shannon. Unless you're in the mastermind or something where we're going to have a webinar tomorrow, and we could certainly go into that a little bit more. And then if you could clarify that as well. But I'm pretty sure you're talking about the Phantom 2 update. At least that's what it's being dubbed, is the Phantom 2 update. Because other than that, I'm not sure of any other major updates. There was Mobilegeddon, right? Which I think is a silly name, but you know, Mobilegeddon. Then there was the doorway pages update, and then there was Phantom 2, and those are they were all kind of like released within about a 2-week period. So I'm assuming that's the one you're talking about, but I'll need some clarification. And like I said, I'd like to prepare a little bit for that one if we're going to talk about that, and be fine. We can talk about that next week, or if you're in the mastermind, put it in the webinar questions category, and we'll talk about that tomorrow, and I'll prepare a little bit for it. Okay, so sorry to gloss over that, but I think that would take some time. So, Kathy, hey, what's up, Kathy? She says, just want to confirm I heard this correctly during the HC webinar. Holly Cooper, once persona accounts are created, purchased from the team and handed over to us, we do not need to use a proxy to log in. Please log in. Excuse me. Please confirm. Thanks. Also note I am located in Canada. Will that make a difference? No, I don't think so, Kathy. Yeah, like, I mean, I've said this many times, guys. We use the proxies to set up the accounts. As soon as the accounts get turned over, like to me, for example, when I get my accounts back from my team, I log in through my own IP. I log in through a clean browser, but it's still my own IP. So like I go into Firefox, I go through the motions, I clear history, I use the proxy tool to clear evercookie and clear flash cookies, and then I'll run CCleaner, and then I'll reopen Firefox, and then I'll log back in, but just using my own IP. And I do that very quickly after I get the networks back, because I noticed, and in fact, one of our members, Samantha, who's in Australia, she let one of her networks that were delivered sit around for a few weeks, and I'm not throwing you under the bus, Samantha, I'm just using you as an example. She's in Australia, and so when she got one of her networks returned by us, she let it sit for a few weeks before logging in, and when she went to go log in, it triggered re-verification, and it was kind of a pain. It took us several days to get it re-verified for her because of you know, the time difference and everything else, and it was kind of just inconvenient for everybody. And if you get the networks back from us, just log into them right away, and you can use your own IP. I've not had any problems with that either. And Holly was talking about she's got 15,000 YouTube channels, guys. That wasn't a mistake. I said 15,000 YouTube channels.
But she, yeah, as you were saying, Bradley, she binds the IP to each account. So depending on where she's going to be using the account, and this goes for the networks as well, bind your IP to your account, you know, so log in as fast as possible or the very same day so that the IP gets binded to that account, that particular account, the Google account mostly, and the YouTube, etc. But yeah, that has to be done.
Yeah. So I would recommend just doing that, you know, jumping in, logging in with your own, just make sure it's a clean browser. That's really what you want to be careful of, guys. And remember, guys, in Firefox, make sure that Google is not your default search engine. Make it Yahoo, okay, or Bing, or whatever you want. Just don't make it Google, because that, you know, if you're clearing cookies and everything, but you still got Google as your default browser, you're still leaving that slight cookie on in your browser because of Google being the search engine. So just clean that out, all right, and then clear your footprint, and then log back in. And I haven't had any problems with it either. And I've got, you know, I don't have 15,000 channels, but I've got probably 6 or 8,000, somewhere between there, 6 to 8,000 networks. So I wouldn't worry about it. Okay. Jason, when sending videos to a prospect client before the funnel, can you just put the proof for that niche in that video? Yes, of course you can, Jason. That's what I recommend doing. Put the proof, put proof in the video that you're sending of that you have the ability to rank stuff, because you're going to get a better response that way. Kevin H, is anyone still using GSA to pump up the PA on Web 2.0 links? Absolutely, we do it all the time. Is it still okay to do without destroying the trust you've already built up? Yeah, it is. If you're skilled with the tool, you can do it. Otherwise, you could build a first layer with other Web 2s first, and so that you're so for example, your tier 1 branded network. I don't recommend GSAing directly to that unless you're very skilled with the tool. Otherwise, but what you can do is build a buffer layer of Web 2s between your tier 1 branded network and GSA, and that's what we do with our network, our link building service, right? We do FCS. And a layer of FCS first, and then we power up the FCS links with GSA. And that's just to keep the link juice coming to our properties cleaner. That's really what that's about, okay? And that's why we do that. It's just safer. If you're good with the tool, you can hammer away with GSA and get really, really good results, but you just got to be really skilled with the tool. So we take the cautionary approach.
Yep.
Okay? Go ahead, Hernan. I think you were going to chime in. Go ahead.
Yeah, just to make still making a parallel here between yesterday's webinar. She uses YouTube because YouTube has a hell of a DA, and it can take it,
Right.
So try to not kill your websites. I mean, spam is good for YouTube or for big DA authority websites, but it's not as good for money sites. So keep that in mind, guys. If you're using GSA, try to not burn your tier 1s or your money sites.
That's right. Valerie must have been the only one that didn't have sound. Okay, yeah, it looks like it. Michael Bryan says, do you 301 through your domain name account? Most of the 301s I do are at HT access level. I use most of the 301 stuff I do, guys. I put the domain, I assign the domain to a hosting account and then do the 301s through the host. However, I know there's a lot of members in our mastermind that are doing stuff straight from the registrar. So, Hernan, you do that sometimes too, right? Or did Hernan step away?
Sorry. No, sorry, I was muted. Yeah, I do it from the registrar.
Okay.
I know that you have some more control of what you let pass on the 301 from the hosting account, but I usually do it, depending on what I'm doing it from the registrar.
Yeah, I mean, guys, I've got like hundreds and hundreds of hosting accounts, like seriously. So that's why I just do it, because I've always got so many available IPs and stuff. Like and it's just old habits die hard. I've run everything through my hosting account. Like I assign it to an IP, and then a hosting account, and then I do either HT access or I'll use the hosting redirect in cPanel itself instead of doing it through registrar. I very rarely have ever done a redirect through the registrar, but if it works, it works. So play with it, Michael. Our other members are doing it, so I'm sure you'd be fine. Joe says, I started going through the basic training, and I have a question about all the cloak and dagger stuff with the proxies and all that. Is that really necessary for branded accounts, or does it not matter so much? And also, what exactly is the difference between branded and non-branded profile? Okay. Yeah, no, it's not that necessary for branded accounts, Joe. Where it's necessary is if you're setting up accounts in volume, then you need to have proxies. Okay, if you're only setting up, like one Google account a day, you just use your own IP. I mean, it's not that big of a deal. It really isn't. Just make sure you clear your browser, like we talk about. You don't have to use the proxies though. But if you're doing volume accounts, then I recommend that you use proxies. You don't need many. You could, like I said, you could get. If you're using like HTTP proxies, if you go to like IP proxy now or whatever, they're in their training course. But like HTTP proxies, those are permanent proxies, and you could get 2 of them or 4 of them or something like that, and that's all you're ever going to need. If you're building in volume, you're probably going to need more, or if you set up a team, then you're certainly going to need more. So, we use a lot of proxies because our team, plus we have people overseas that are building them, and we need the accounts to come through a US proxy, so that's another reason we use them. Right, so you don't really need to use proxies if you're just doing branded stuff, and just clear your browser though. You still want to do that. Next, is it necessary for? What exactly is the difference between branded and non-branded profile? Well, a branded profile would be a logo. It would be named after a business. You'd have a company bio. A non-branded profile would be a persona. So you're acting as a person instead of a company. That's the only difference. Okay. Let's see. Backlinks to videos are press releases. Okay, that's what Clifton was clarifying what he was talking about earlier. Well, that's great, Clifton, because press releases are good links, and you can get hundreds of them very quickly with just a simple distribution. By the way, guys, our marketplace will be available. Or am I not allowed to talk about this yet, Adam?
Yeah, I think we'll keep it quiet for now, but we'll just say there's some stuff coming.
I don't know if I'm allowed to talk about that, guys. I got the hush. I just got the hush order. The hush
Sitting
order.
here with my hand over the button, ready to bleep anything out.
Right.
Okay, well, we won't talk about that yet. We'll wait another week or so.
I think Damon here he's asking about FCS or syndwire and recommendations. That's a good one. I mean, it's kind of for different things. Not different. You can use them for the same thing, but I would use them for different things myself.
Damon, what's up, Damon? He just released a product recently that I think did very, very well. So congratulations on that, Damon. You're more than welcome to drop a mention if you'd like about it. I don't know if it's still for sale, but it was about using Hangouts and stuff. So, Damon, FCS or syndwire, again, like I second what Adam said. It depends on what you're doing. They both do similar things, but FCS I think is more versatile than syndwire. I like syndwire. I use it a lot as like second tier links, and now I'm also testing that scale out app by Ryan McKinney, and that integrates with like it does automatic tier 2 links to that, and we also use because of our IFTTT networks, it integrates well with that. Syndwire can integrate with IFTTT as well as good second tier links, but I think FCS is more versatile. There's more, you can do more with FCS than you can with syndwire. That's all I'm saying. So personally, like if I had to just choose one, I would choose FCS, although I've never run FCS myself because I got somebody that does it for me, and syndwire I do run myself. So depends on, I think FCS has more of a learning curve. I don't know for sure. What would you say, Adam?
It's kind of a tough one. Again, it just comes down to what you want to do. If you're unsure, I would check out FCS. I know syndwire has a kind of a steep price as well as, just anting up to that. But if you want to check out FCS, I know they have a monthly. Then if you want to, you could probably roll that into the price. I mean, I've talked to, I forget the guy who runs that, Dan or something, but like it's really easy to check out, and you can know within a week or two if you're going to want it or not, and it's well worth the money to spend the month fee and check it out.
Looks like Valerie had Holly's email. Michael Bryan, looks like you posted your question twice, buddy. I think we already answered that.
Yep.
Jordan Fowler says, so there will be 50 or 30 Semantic Mastery Hangout videos in my SEO playlist. I'm +1 in that. Guys, go +1 that.
Cool.
That's awesome, Jordan.
That's
Thanks,
a good channel to subscribe, by the way.
Brian, my question is, where does Holly buy the YouTube channels, or does she start fresh from a YouTube channel? Yes, she buys phone-verified accounts, and she says that in her course, she reveals her source for that. She mentioned that in the Hangout last night. Clint says, never tell Holly your niche if you like to make money. She will kill you, take your money, then point and laugh. +1 in that, too. That's awesome, Clint. That's funny. So Clint knows about Holly. She's been around kicking ass for a while.
Yep.
Holly seasons her Web 2 properties and niches, so she always has some on stash. Yeah, as a matter of fact, during the webinar last night, she was talking about building out her channels and seasoning them. She's 6 months ahead right now. In other words, she's always building out her channels for what she plans on having ranked 6 months down the road. And that's systems.
That's dedication.
That's systems,
planning.
Guys. That's how you get to the $50,000 a month level, guys. Like that.
Yeah.
Instead of planning, like, I'm sorry, Hernan, go ahead.
Sorry, it's the business moving forward. It's what you got to do.
That's right.
When you're playing at that level, you got to do stuff like that.
Yeah. Okay, Shannon is in the mastermind, and he says, "Okay, Shannon, bring that up tomorrow. I'll try to dig that up. The only one that I'm aware of, and maybe I just missed it, then was the Phantom 2 update.
Phantom and then the mobile, but
if there was one called the quality update, I'm gonna have to actually research it a little bit before I can talk about it, Shannon, because I honestly was unaware of that one, which means I'm working too hard. If I'm not able to freaking keep up with some of this stuff, I'm working too hard. But that's fine, Shannon. If you're in the mastermind, please just drop a message in the webinar category, and I'll try to look into that a little bit for tomorrow so we can talk about it more. Okay, guys, that's pretty much it. We got to wrap up.
Yeah, real quick, Damon, you're saying what's the link to your account service? I'm not sure what you're asking. Bradley, do you know what he's saying?
Probably the network building service, most likely.
Okay, I'll drop a link in there. I just wasn't sure.
Yeah. You can drop a link to the network building service and then a link building service too. Yeah, that's it. Damon Green's Hangout course on how to make money with Hangouts and affiliate marketing stuff. It's tubeliveprofits.com. I actually got a chance to review it. And he did very well with the presentations and everything. Damon, good job on that. So. Okay, guys, that's it. We're going to wrap it up. We've got masterclass starting in just a few moments. This was a good Hump Day Hangouts. We've actually been able to finish questions for, like, I think going on a month in a row now, almost 4 weeks in a row. That's awesome. So you guys are either you guys have been trained or.
Joe has one final question.
What was that?
You want to tackle it? It shouldn't take that long. Joe Rodriguez.
Okay, hold on. I'm looking at it now. So I can set up a branded profile, XYZ Marketing, and use it to rank videos and sites for multiple clients? Or do I need one brand channel per client? One brand channel per client, Joe. Like, that's the whole idea with a branded network, right? You brand the network for the client or for the website, right? So a brand can be a business, a brand can be a website, but it's a brand nonetheless, right? So you set up one channel per brand plus one tier 1 branded network per brand. That's what you should do. You can have a tier 2 network that is fed from multiple tier 1 networks. That's fine, but I would not recommend using the same tier 1 network for a bunch of different brands. That's not a good way to do it. So
all right, time to run.
That's it. We're done, guys. We'll see you guys next week. Hump Day Hangouts, 4 p.m. And for everyone else, we'll see you guys in Masterclass in just a moment. And thanks for being here.
Cool.
Thanks,
see you guys.
everyone.
Bye, everyone.